Hello, welcome to this week's assignment. This week in social media marketing, what we're going to focus on is social media audits of competitors. We experienced a little bit about doing a social media internal audit. Metrics are an important part of social media. When you're creating a social media campaign, it's really important to understand how to create goals, but more importantly, how to create realistic goals. Obviously, if you're a small business, creating a goal for social media, it's a lot different than creating a goal if you're a big company. Comparing your social media goals against a company like, say, UPS is a completely different story. UPS is a big corporation, whereas you may be a small company. So it's really important when you do a social media analysis is to establish metrics that are realistic. That way, your owner or yourself, you don't get wrapped up with unrealistic goals that just aren't achievable. So, Chapter 4 in Stu Kent really deals with social media audits and social media strategy planning. And then it talks about the metrics that are available in social media and how aligning those metrics with goals is extremely important. So the first part of of this week's assignment is to read Chapter 4 of your social media marketing textbook, and of course to go ahead and take the Chapter 4 quiz. The second part of the assignment is creating a persona and social media competitor audit. Now I've copied in here examples of what I'd like to see with both creating a persona and a social media audit for a competitor. You're responsible for telling me exactly who your company's brand persona is and conducting a social media audit on one competitor. So when we talk about your company's brand persona, we're talking about two things, a primary persona and a secondary persona. Now, personas are just images of who your ideal customer is using demographic information. For example, if I was creating a persona for a healthy food delivery service, let's say Sean's Healthy Foods, all right? I would create a primary persona. I would say, okay, who is my ideal customer? Well, I would say young professionals, 26 to 38 years old, that have a little bit of disposable income. Being that they're busy, but they have some income, I would think that these would be ideal customers. They're employed full-time, 9 to 6, and they're well educated when it comes to making health-conscious choices. Okay? However, their pain point is the fact that they don't have much time to produce healthy meals for themselves and to get their healthy meals ready. So this is what my primary persona, my primary ideal customer would look like. Okay? My second ideal customer would be my secondary personas. And they would be similar to my primary. They'd be young professionals, 24 to 32, middle level of income. However, these are people that are employed during non-traditional hours. They may be freelancers. They may be working third shift. They understand the value of health-conscious choices, but in addition to lacking time, they are price sensitive. And they are commitment adverse because they travel quite a bit being freelancers. So you can see how I created two different images of my ideal customers. Now this is important when we're looking for potential customers on social media. This helps us identify if they fit our mold of what an ideal customer looks like. This allows us not to waste our time. For instance, if I was running this food company and I happen to set up my HootSuite monitoring tools to listen to people that are mentioning healthy food choices, and I come across a potential customer that I look and they are a stay-at-home mom and they're looking for healthy choices for their kids, I could identify that they don't fit either my primary persona or secondary persona. So I would choose not to engage with them in social media because I know it would be a waste of my time because they don't match what my ideal customers look like. So part one of your assignment for the persona and social media competitor audit is to identify your primary and secondary persona for your company. Again, use this as an example. The second part of the assignment is completing a competitor social media audit. Now, a competitor social media audit is very important to do. Okay, we talked about an internal social media audit, but a competitor social media audit is very important to do. And the reason why this is important to do is it's useful when helping create realistic, achievable goals. Say that I'm a small business, okay? I can't compare myself to a huge conglomerate like K Jewelers or something like that. Say I'm a mom and pop jewelry store that opens. I got one location. I can't go in and say, okay, K Jewelers is my competitor that I'd like to compare myself to. K Jewelers has millions of followers, millions of fans. I am a little mom and pop jewelry store that has a couple hundred. It's not really fair to compare myself and to establish my goals of social media based on K Jewelers. So what I want to do is find companies that are my size and establish what their metrics are. And this will help to create benchmarks. So the first part of the social media assessment is to find a competitor, all their social media networks, their followers or fan counts, and then tell me their average weekly activity. Another thing is their average engagement rate, okay? And this is calculated by following the number of interactions versus the number of reach, divided by their reach. So for instance, Hex Cafe. Let's say I own a sports bar a sports grill in the Avon area, in the Cleveland area. They would be a competitor of mine. Okay, so let's take a look. They have 320 followers, and let's see, August 18th, June 16th. Okay, they post maybe once every month, it looks like. And they have maybe 1 or 2, 4 here. So they have about 5. They have about 5 people on average, 4 people, 3 people, maybe about 4 or 5 of the 320 followers comment on that. So if we go back to this formula, which is number of interactions divided by reach, that can be very quickly done. Let's pull up my calculator here. Let's see, calculator. All right, so here we go. So we said that the average number of interactions is around 5 per post by Hex, and they have 320 followers. So their interaction rate is 0.01. So if that's percentage, it's less than 1. It's about 1.5%, correct? Because remember, 0.01 is 1.5%. All right, so their average interaction rate for Hex Cafe, 320 followers. They average around 4 or 5 likes or shares for each of their posts. It's safe to say that their average engagement rate is 1.56%. So that's what I would put here. So Twitter, Hex Cafe, follower count is 320. Average weekly activity is 0.25 or 1 post per month. And their average engagement rate is 1.5%. The second part of the social media competitor assessment is to tell exactly what their strengths and weaknesses are. Well, I can tell you based on the Hex Cafe, one of their weaknesses is that they only post once a month. Okay, that's not pretty good. So weakness would be they only post once a month. Some of their strengths. Let's take a look at some of their strengths. Well, they post a lot of news about themselves. Okay, they retweet a lot of their fan stuff. Just had the best salad from Hex Cafe in Avon. They retweeted it. So it looks like their weakness. One of their weaknesses is that they only post once a month. But one of their strengths is that they often correspond and retweet some of their followers' posts. So what I'd like you to do is do this for one of your competitors. Again, find a realistic competitor, not a competitor that is way above you, a competitor that is more along the lines with your business. Now, a couple people asked me through email to explain to them a little bit more about the HootSuite account. I spoke to HootSuite this week, and a couple of you have experienced a little bit of problems of when you signed up for a HootSuite account for HootSuite University, you couldn't log into the HootSuite dashboard. It appears for several of you, you're going to have to create a secondary HootSuite account for just the dashboard. Now, this can be done with your social media platform, such as Facebook or Twitter. You can sign in using one of those platforms, so you don't have to choose a different login and password. If you want, you can actually connect it straight to your Facebook or straight to your Twitter account. So feel free to do that. It's not going to happen for all of you, but I understand it's happening for some of you. So please just keep that in mind. But I did want to give you a little bit more information about monitoring social media. Some people say, okay, well, what do I do when I monitor social media? And let's give you an example that I just opened a sports bar and grill across from Lorain Community College. All right, what I want to do is find more people that are fans of the Indians. And what would be a cool thing is if I invited them to come watch the games and give them like a coupon for like a free drink or a coupon for a free hamburger or something like that. Well, it's very easy for me to find people in my area that are talking about the Indians or watching the Indians, or another name for the Indians, of course, is the tribe. So it's very easy. It's very easy for me to find. So very quickly, I'm just going to show you some of the cool things that you can do with HootSuite. All right. So if you go to this Add Stream button, and let's say that I do want to find people talking about the Indians, I can say Indians, okay? Which is very cool. But you see this little arrow over here? I can append my location to this query to find local results. So not only can I find people talking about the Indians, but I can find people in my area talking about the Indians, which is very cool. So for instance, if you're maybe the social media manager for a local music group, you can find people talking about your style of music or the music that your company offers in your area simply by hitting this button. So we're going to hit this button. And what it's going to do is get your location from your computer and add your code. Now you can adjust this right here. Now this puts a radius of 25 kilometers around you, okay? So it puts a little circle around your area of 25 kilometers. You can adjust this from anything from 15 kilometers, or you can even adjust it to miles because we don't use the metric system around here. And we can go ahead and add that stream. So what it's going to talk to you about, or what it's going to show is, it's going to show you everybody talking about the Indians in a certain radius, which is really great. So you can reach out to Cleveland chick and say, hey, listen, if you don't have a place to watch the game, come check out my sports bar and grill, and here's a coupon for a free drink or a free burger. So very cool way of finding people, talking about your products or your services, and inviting them to your place of business. So again, just to remind you of what your assignment that is due Wednesday is reading Stu Kent Chapter 4 and taking the quiz. In addition, you have an activity of creating a persona and a social media competitor audit. Now, because this was posted on Saturday, I'm giving you a couple extra days, and I'm going to give you until next Friday at 11:59 to complete this. Now, feel free to turn this in as a table like this. Both of these can be turned into a table and sent to me as a Excel sheet or a Google sheet. I'm fine with that. All right? As always, you can reach me at scanary@gmail.com if you have any questions. Please feel free to contact me at any time.